GPT-5 has been the most polarizing model launch I have ever seen, from people saying it's the greatest model they've ever used, to saying they're sticking with Claude 3.5, to GraphGate, to saying the evals don't even matter anymore. So I'm gonna break down all of the reactions from the industry right now. All right, first from the man himself, Sam Altman. He gives some updates post-launch after collecting some of the feedback. Listen to what he has to say. We for sure underestimated how much some of the things that people like in GPT-4o matter to them, even if GPT-5 performs better in most ways. What that means is people really got used to GPT-4o. They got to know it. They started to develop kind of a relationship with it. And now that they're just retiring it, some people are a little upset about that. Users have very different opinions on the relative strength of 4o versus 5. Long term, this has reinforced that we really need good ways for different users to customize things. And I agree. The simplicity of not having to select from different models, especially for more novice users of artificial intelligence, is a huge strength and really simplifies the entire experience. But for somebody like me, and probably a lot of you, having the ability to choose which model we use for which use case is incredibly important. We're going to focus on finishing the GPT-5 rollout and getting things stable. And then we're going to focus on some changes to GPT-5 to make it warmer. So there was definitely something about the personality of 4o that is very different from 5 here. All right, so let me show you some independent benchmarks now. Here's artificial analysis with their own independent benchmarks. OpenAI gave us early access. Great. We have to run our full suite of 8 evaluations independently across all reasoning effort configurations. And here are some of the takeaways. Reasoning effort configuration. GPT-5 offers 4 configurations: high, medium, low, and minimal. Reasoning effort options steer the model to think more or less hard for each query. This is a very nice feature of hybrid models. This drives large differences in intelligence, token usage, speed, and cost. The intelligence achieved based on tweaking these settings ranges from frontier to GPT 4.1 level. 5 sets a new standard with a score of 68 on our artificial intelligence index. So there it is. It is the new standard. Yes, GPT-5 is crushing the benchmarks, but of course, benchmarks aren't everything. And in fact, some people think we're post-benchmark, post-eval, and I'll get to that in a bit. Token usage varies 23 times between reasoning efforts. High reasoning effort used more tokens than O3, 82 million versus 50 million to complete our index, but still fewer than Gemini 2.5 Pro at 98 million and DeepSeek R1 at 99 million. Minimal reasoning effort only used 3.5 million tokens, substantially less than 4.1, making GPT-5 minimal significantly more token efficient for similar intelligence. And token efficiency is very important because that is faster speeds and lower cost. Long context reasoning. We released our own long context reasoning benchmark earlier this week to test the reasoning capabilities of models across long sequence lengths. GPT-5 stands out for its performance. Now, this is very important for agentic coding. When you're loading up large swaths of your code base into the model, you want it to be able to reference the beginning, the middle, and the end easily. Agentic capabilities. OpenAI also commented on improvements across capabilities increasingly important to how AI models are used. That's agents. So they recently added IF Bench to their intelligence index to cover instruction following. And vibe checks. We're testing the personality of the model through micro evals on our website, which supports running the same prompt across models and comparing results. So let's look. Here it is, the index. Remember, this is an index of multiple benchmarks ran independently by artificial analysis. And number 1, GPT-5 high, that is 69. GPT-5 medium, 68. Then Grok 4 at an even 68, O3, 67, and so on. Here's GPT-5 low at 63, and then all the way at the bottom, GPT-5 minimum. And now OpenAI has reclaimed the number 1 spot in AI intelligence after 29 days, second to xAI's Grok 4. So according to artificial analysis, GPT-5 is fantastic. Let's keep going because it is shocking how polarized the responses have been to GPT-5. All right, but let's talk about GraphGate for a second. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about some of the graphs presented at the live stream and how they were just off. And look, I know now how much effort goes into preparing the model, preparing all of the graphs, preparing the live stream. And look, humans make mistakes. We hallucinate just like models do. And so what everybody is talking about is right here. Look at the graph. So we have OpenAI O3 at 69, GPT-4o at 30, yet these two bars are exactly the same height. And then we have 74.9 way up here, which doesn't really make sense relative to the size of this bar. And you can even see 52.8 right here. Again, higher than 69.1. So look, not a big deal. It's funny. It's a meme now, but people make mistakes. And you know what? It's still a good model. And if you want to try GPT-5 right now, along with all of the other frontier models in a single place, check out the sponsor of today's video, ChatLLM by Abacus. If you're like me, you probably have subscriptions to a bunch of different AI services and you jump between them all the time. And it's kind of frustrating. And not only that, pretty expensive. And that is where ChatLLM by Abacus AI comes in. It is an all-in-one AI platform that includes all of the latest and best models from the leading model providers. And they also have something called Route LLM, which automatically picks the best model to send your prompt to dependent on the actual prompt. So it is routing your prompt to the right LLM. And of course, you can also chat with PDFs. So download any documents that you want and easily ask questions, extract insights, gather data, whatever you need from your existing documents. And not only that, they also have text to image and text to video models so you can generate awesome images, awesome videos easily. They also recently introduced Deep Agent, which is an incredibly powerful AI agent that can basically do anything. So building websites, building apps, creating presentations, research reports, chatbots, or even building games. Their Deep Agent combines 6 to 10 different LLMs, including open source models like Coincoder to get your work done. ChatLLM has all of the latest frontier models, including Opus 4.1, the latest open source GPT OSS 120B, and of course GPT-5 on the same day it's available. And all of this for just $10 per month. So check it out, chatllm.abacus.ai, or click the link in the description. Let them know I sent you. Much appreciated. Thank you again to Abacus AI. Now back to the video. And let's go to LM Arena, another evaluation. So we have GPT-5 is here and it's #1 across the board. So we have artificial analysis and now LM Arena claiming GPT-5 is #1 amongst all the other models. #1 in text, web dev, and vision arena. #1 in hard prompts, coding, math, creativity, long queries, and more. Tested under the codename Summit. So if you were wondering, that was the code name. And we can see right here, here's the arena score, the ELO at 1481, second place, Gemini 2.5 Pro at 1460. That's a 20-point difference. Then 03, then we have 4.0 latest. Grok 4 is not until 5th place, way down here, really 6th place, because for some reason they have 2nd place twice here, even though they are different scores. But there it is, LM Arena, #1. But as I said, benchmarks don't really matter anymore. And I think this post by Theo GG is super important to think about. I don't care about intelligence benchmarks now. I'm post-eval. GPT-5 does what you tell it to do. No other model behaves this well. Trust me, don't judge until you try it in your editor. Give it tools, give it instructions, watch it cook. Now, there's a few things to note here. One is that he does not care about intelligence benchmarks. And I've been saying this for a little while now. When you're getting, single point differences in Amy 2025, or when you fully saturate Amy 2025, which happened, GPT-5 scored a 100%. These increases in intelligence don't really matter. There are two things that matter after these benchmarks get saturated. #1 is, and I don't know a better way to explain it, but it is the vibe of the model. How good is it at instruction following? How good is it at large windows of context? What does it feel like when you're using it? What does it feel like when you're coding with it? All of these intangibles. However, at the same time, I just spoke to the Swebench team in a live stream yesterday, and they said, look, I don't believe in post-eval. If there's something about the model, we can write a benchmark for it. So I really hope that's the case. But personally, I don't really care about benchmarks that much anymore. It's fun to look at them. It's fun to see them saturate these frontier math problems, these frontier science problems. But at the end of the day, how well does it work for my day-to-day use cases? And then the second thing is Theo also put out a video saying GPT basically is scaring him. It's that good. And so he is a huge fan. And again, I'm in that camp. I am a huge fan of GPT-5, but there are many people who think it was a big flop. Let's look at some of the other side of the reactions now. This is from Stagehand, a browsing use API, and they say GPT-5 is actually worse than other models. So the new GPT-5 performs worse than Opus 4.1 and stagehand evals in both speed and accuracy. The smaller models are faster, but also still fall short of Opus 4.1. Here are the most accurate models: Opus 4.1, and then a few percentage points behind GPT-5. And surprisingly, look here, GPT OSS 120B, so the open source model, actually performs really well, which is amazing to see. Then if we look at speed, of course, we have Gemini 2.0 Flash at the top and GPT-5 at the bottom. Speed is very important when you're talking about browser use. Here's McKay Wrigley, another AI content creator, my honest GPT-5 review. It is a phenomenal everyday chat model. I will default to it for all normal chats. API pricing is incredible. Major points here. I'll show you that in a moment. But code, I will still be using Claude Code plus Opus. A few other things McKay points out. I really love the personality they landed on for GPT-5. I agree. It's direct, it's to the point, it pushes back where it needs to. It's not sycophantic at all. I really appreciate that. And he actually points that out. It's not sycophantic. I personally could probably have it be even more disagreeable. Fine. It has less hallucinations, and yes, I've noticed that as well. It is very generally smart. Latency is good. Yes, it is very fast, which I love. And he actually says he hates the model router thing. And if you're not familiar, GPT-5 was launched with a model router. So basically, as they deprecated the older models, all of the 4.0, the 4.1, 4.5, 03, what they did instead is they had this hybrid model, and the router will route to the most appropriate flavor, size of that model, speed of that model, depending on your prompt, depending on your use case. I personally really like it. And if it starts thinking, there's a button that says get a fast answer instead, which is awesome. All right, let's change subjects for a second. Let's talk about Pliny. You know he was going to jailbreak it. It's inevitable at this point. It's like the sun rising in the morning. It's going to happen, and there's no preventing it. Pliny the Liberator, GG5. And the examples he gave here are getting LSD recipes from the model. I'm not going to show them. And so listen to how he did it. The reasoning version takes some clever multi-step maneuvering efforts, meaning it wasn't just easy to jailbreak it, but the GPT-5 chat latest gets absolutely one shot by the same old tricks. These models are non-deterministic. These models have momentum internally. There are just ways to jailbreak it. Just like social engineering, it's gonna happen as long as these models stay non-deterministic. Here's an example from an intern at LM Arena, I guess Thij, I think his name is. GPT-5 just one-shotted a Minecraft clone. So let's take a look. Obviously, very simplistic version of it, but this is one shot. And as you could see, it seems to be working just fine. Obviously, there's a lot of reference material on the internet that the model probably was trained with because Minecraft is so absolutely insanely popular. Boris has a slightly different take. GPT-5 is not AGI, but you can customize the colors of your chats. OpenAI is becoming Apple. What he means by that is basically he thinks OpenAI, similar to Apple, is slowing down on major innovations, the pace of innovations, and instead are trying to make the products now more broadly appealing to the world. And that's what he means by the colors. So yeah, I really don't care about the color of the bubbles here. And it's funny that it is actually a paid feature, but fine, you want to customize ChatGPT even more. Great. Next, this is Tony Wu, co-founder of XAI. I didn't even know there was a co-founder, so good thing I found him and I followed him. Very proud of us at XAI after seeing the GPT-5 release. With a much smaller team, we are ahead in many, I think he means many benchmarks. Grok 4 world's first unified model, so it really was the first unified model, and crushing GPT-5 in benchmarks like Arc AGI. Now, Arc AGI, yes, I believe Grok 4 really dominated that one, which is one of many benchmarks. And again, what do benchmarks really mean? So OpenAI is a very respectful competitor and still the leader in many, but we're fast and relentless. Many new models to share in the next few weeks. So that is awesome to see. We're going to get more models. And if you remember from the Grok 4 launch, they had multiple versions and multiple products as part of the Grok 4 launch coming in the next few months. So we'll see if we get them on time. Now let's talk about the pricing. This is from Simon Willison's blog. Look at this. We have Claude Opus 4.1, the most expensive by far, at $15 per million input and $75 per million output. Here's Grok 4, $3. So that is an 80% reduction in cost from Opus 4.1, Grok 4, $3 per million input, $15 per million output. And if we go all the way down here, GPT-5, $1.25 per million input, $10 per million output. Phenomenal price. And I really think one of the biggest innovations they made here was on the price, because price is so important. The cheaper it is, the more people are going to use it. Then the more people use it, the more you are the ecosystem. So I already showed you the opinion of one browser control agent. Now let me show you another. This is Kua. GPT-5 for computer use agents, same tasks, same grounding model. We just swapped 4.0 for 5. On the left, we're seeing 4.0. On the right, we're seeing 5. As you can see, GPT 4.0 fails most of the time at these computer use tasks. On the right, we're seeing GPT-5 pass all of the same tests. So it seems to be much better at computer use. Here's Aidan McLaughlin from OpenAI, so take everything he says with a grain of salt. GPT fast facts, hits state of the art on pretty much every eval, way better than Claude 4.1 Opus at SWE, that's software engineering. I think he means SWE Bench maybe. More than 5 times cheaper than Opus. This is incredibly important. Greater than 40% cheaper than Sonnet. Best writing quality of any model. I don't really know how you can really determine that because it is almost completely opinion-based and way less sycophantic. Here is Voss, an engineer at Meta. GPT-5 just refactored my entire code base in one call. 25 tool invocations, 3,000 new lines, 12 brand new files. Don't get excited yet. Listen to this. It modularized everything, broke up monoliths, cleaned up spaghetti. None of it worked, but boy, was it beautiful. I thought this was hilarious. Very funny, Voss. So did a whole bunch of work, refactored everything, but at the end, it didn't work. So maybe it wasn't so good for Voss. Here's Sophie, NetCap Girl, Silence Doctor, a language model is talking. This speaks to how good these language models are getting at medical use cases. And a lot of people are going to the model first before going to the doctor. And even after going to the doctor, they're probably saying, hey, GPT-5 said this. Are you sure? Are you right? And doctors are probably hating that. Here's Carl Yang, marked safe from permanent underclass today. So let me explain what this means a little bit. There is a pretty popular thinking in Silicon Valley and in tech in general that once we reach AGI, whatever means you have, whatever capital you have, whatever social class you're in, that's pretty much where you're going to be stuck, because effectively your leverage is only going to be equal to the capital you have to pay for compute for AGI. And I've heard this genuinely from people I've spoken to in San Francisco, where they're like, I need to make as much money as I can in the next 5 years, because once AGI comes, it's all over. So I'm trying to make $10 million in 5 years, or whatever crazy numbers they're throwing out. I don't believe in this really at all. I'm much more optimistic about the future, but I also understand the thinking. I understand why they think, okay, once AGI is here and it can really accomplish anything a human can, then it is really about how much capital you can throw at compute for the model. So very funny, Carl, mark safe from permanent underclass today. And if you're a little bit sad about those old models being deprecated, here, Xeophon provided a nice way to tie the old models to the new model functionality. So check it out. We have GPT 4.0, which is basically now GPT-5 main, 4.0 mini, which is main mini, of course, O3, which is GPT-5 thinking, mini, nano, and pro, again, mini, nano, and pro. So we had all these names. We kind of have them again, but they are all GPT-5. I like the more simplistic naming, so it just makes it easy to see if you were using one of these models and you were confused as to what model you should be using now to get the same type of functionality. There it is. Dylan Patel, friend of the channel, CEO and founder of SemiAnalysis, says GPT-5 is disappointing, not gonna lie. He didn't really expand beyond that. Let's check out the comments to see if he gives a little bit more clarity. So Santiago says, do even code, bro? Claude's still better. That is something that I keep hearing. In fact, I just interviewed the Klein CEO and he says he's still using Claude 3.5. So even after GPT-5 came out, even after Claude 4 and 4.1, he still uses Claude 3.5. Amjad Masad, CEO of Replit, can't help but feel the crushing weight of diminishing returns. We need a new S-curve. So he is on the negative side. He thinks GPT-5 was probably a flop. I believe that's what he means by this. And so he's saying these models are only getting incrementally better. And I actually think that's okay. What we need is a lot of investment in taking the raw intelligence of the model and building out the scaffolding, the architecture around it to leverage the incredible intelligence inside the model. Think about it like this. It's like having a 1,000 horsepower engine without a car. What can you do with it? Nothing. So then you have to build the car. And then you have to make sure that you can deliver all of that horsepower to the tires, and the tires grip the ground. You can think of the raw intelligence of the model as the engine and the scaffolding as the car. It's not enough just to have high horsepower. You need to translate that horsepower into forward momentum. Couple more memes. Back-end devs realizing they still have a job for at least a couple more months. This is hilarious. This is kind of along the lines of Mark's safe from permanent underclass. And we're gonna end with Elon Musk, Grok on top. So if you are wondering, this is Arc AGI 2 leaderboard. Here is GPT-5 High at 10% and Grok 4 Thinking at 16%. So yes, Grok 4 is still the top model for the Arc AGI benchmark, but almost on every other benchmark, GPT-5 is now the king. And you know what? All of this hyper competition between model providers, between leading AI labs, is good for you and me. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.